All right, fellas, we'll push on to the Crusaders versus the Blues. New injuries in this one. You had Finlay Brewis, who was pulled pre-game 2 weeks ago with a shoulder injury, named again this time. Again pulled pre-game, so we assume it's the same shoulder injury, but no word there yet. Bodie Barrett pulled with a tight Achilles, but apparently will be back this week. For the Blues, you also got Patrick Tuipulotu expecting to be back in the row. Hoskins Tutu missed last week with illness, and Mark Talea missed last week for his All Blacks rest week. The Crusaders, you got Sam Whitelock, I've just read this afternoon, is expecting to be back from his Achilles knock as well. So that's a big in for them for the set piece. What do you guys have to talk about this one? What's going to happen?
Look, I was excited last week at the prospect that we're going to see Bodie Barrett playing out the back at 15 with Plummer at 10. Are we waiting for Perifetta to come back from an injury, or is it a rest week for him?
He had a shoulder injury. He's gone for like 6 weeks. I think he's like a partial shoulder dislocation or something.
I hope that's what we see again. Tuivasa-Sheck showed he has some real value throughout parts of that game. Plummer at 10, I want to see more of it there, and Bodie gets that nod at 15. Obviously, they've got the opportunity to put someone else there. So it could be Sullivan, it could be Ranamata-Vuki, Nipkins, but I want to see Bodie at 15. It's exciting.
I think Zahn Sullivan, mate. He's the man. Yeah. He's going to be in the 15 jersey. I think anything else, we're kidding ourselves.
I don't know why they're not actually trying to get prepared for the finals coming up and actually starting to, when you're going to have Roger Tuivasa-Sheck at 12, having BB at 10, and actually having a proper 15 being Zahn Sullivan. I don't understand why you're not actually trying to get that cohesion going for the finals.
Man, I'm not trying to get it going because Bodie's doing nothing on my fantasy side. So with space back there, that's what I want.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to think for the Blues perspective.
I know, like Nick. Here's me in the super sub trying to give some insights into the game, and Nelson's just talking about his fantasy team.
That's why I'm beating you both in fantasy this year. Calm down.
At this point, mate.
And we're all at the bottom, mate, and I'm at the most bottomest. So that says a bit about everything.
Yeah. Look, this is going to be it's going to be a cracker. I think this should be a real interesting one. Yet again, every time the Blues and Crusaders come up against each other, it's probably our Reds versus Tars, except for way more successful teams with a lot better players on the paddock.
God, I think the big thing here is that both teams are finally getting back towards, not exactly fully, but towards a full strength side. Like the only question mark for obviously Sevu Reece not being in the Crusader side is big, and they're going to use Macca Springer probably in his place. But pretty good to see that most of their players are back, particularly obviously Will Jordan rounding out their back three. But I thought Braden Ennor was quiet again. He'd had a couple of good weeks, and then he's just gone off the boil a bit last week in a game that should have been relatively comfortable for him. Jack Goodhue maybe getting a chance again. He's probably due. He's been riding the pine. Yeah. And when Ennor was playing as well as he was for a few weeks earlier, I thought that, he's just going to have to sit there. But he's probably the big inclusion for me for the Crusaders.
Yeah, I agree, Has. For something that's supposed to be kind of test match quality, Crusaders versus Blues, you're going to need someone that's experienced at test match level to actually go there and fill the space. So I think Goodhue will come in for Ennor.
I would just say that if they had everyone fit, my worry is with that back line, there's just not enough ball runners. Like David Avili is exceptional, but he's not a ball runner, and he's been, the knock on him has always been that he's not a big enough body. Braden Ennor is definitely not a big ball runner. Will Jordan, as exceptionally as he is, probably doesn't matter. He's a ball runner because of how exceptional he is. Lester, obviously, and Macca Springer, I don't think he's that big either. So my only worry is when you play Jack Goodhue or Ennor, neither of them give you punch. Havili doesn't give you punch. You've got a lot of playmakers there. And I actually think maybe that's the biggest problem for the Crusaders this year from a fit team perspective. Maybe we should be looking at like a Leicester at 13 and then getting, none other than Settle Down on the left wing. That's how I want to see it go. Milani Nanai, for those that don't listen every week.
I bet you that's not going to happen, Has.
I know it's not going to happen. It's what I want to happen, mate. That's how they win the comp.
I'd love to see it, but it's not going to happen. But, I mean, you may, at some point, it's not this match, we may get to see Fainga'anuku have a run around on that 13 jersey. He's shown that he's versatile. But, I mean, Jack Goodhue, who didn't take the field last week, almost got the same amount of run meters as Enor. Enor is not in form. He was
good, man. That's rough. He was good the few weeks before that.
Yeah, last week, the week before, he was good.
He was good. He's been good for about 1 or 2 weeks, and I mean, this is a game last week though against the Force. He had an ability to insert himself into that game, and he didn't. So I don't think he's demanding selection. I think Goodhue deserves the crack, and he's an experienced player. It's his time to get the run.
Yeah, and one more, guys. I just want to know who's at the inside centre jersey for the Blues at the moment.
It's Roger Tuivasa.
Yeah, Roger.
He's down, even though they didn't even play him the week before. Said he was not needed, and they'll find a role for him moving forwards.
Agreed. He needs to be there now.
Yeah, I feel like it was almost a bit of a punishment. He's decided he's leaving the club, but he showed some real punch for them and was really, really positive in that 12 jersey last week. Yes, Plummer's got an argument to make there, but Tuivasa Sheck, Bodie Barrett, if that's your 10-12, there's a lot more cohesion, and that's what they're going to be wanting when they're going into this final, not the guy that's necessarily starting next year.
Yep, fair enough. And guys, on to the tip. Nabung, you want to lead us?
Crusaders at home.
Yep. By
7.
Jeez, this is
I reckon it'll be. I just can't see it not being tight. So I'll go Crusaders by 4.
I'm lost, to be honest. I'm gonna say just to be on the opposite side with you boys. I'm gonna say the Blues are gonna sneak it home and they're gonna win by 1. It's gonna be crazy.
That would be a big loss. I think this is every loss the Crusaders have made the pressure build on them as the reigning champs. I think they're sitting in 3rd at the moment. This is a big moment. Like if they lose this, they drop to 4th and the Blues leapfrog them and probably are the favourites to hold 3rd place. I just don't know if I can see that happening. I think they'll understand the importance of it. And they're just going to show up. And
I think the importance of it means jack shit. These are guys that are full of the All Blacks and Crusaders, mate. It's important every week to them. Like they're just not. They're starting to gel, but they're not at the point they had been last year and previous years. The Blues have a very, very good squad with some real talent coming back in. So I think this could easily go either way. I don't think it matters that the Crusaders are going to feel pressure. They just keep winning the comp every year. They know how to deal with pressure.
Yeah, they do. The Crusaders are one of the teams that come 8th and go ahead and win it. They're one of these teams that I actually don't. They could scrape through, and it doesn't really matter to them. They know how to knuckle teams down and just kind of get the job done.
Well, let's go back a few years, boys, to when the Crusaders didn't have a home ground, so they played away for the whole year and came second. It is ridiculous. They don't really need the home ground advantage, do they?